Hi guys, this is Ian,
And this is Leann.
and as we went through on our first episode with the makeup of a human body, I'll ask Leann right now the most asked question on earth: who we really are.
So, we are really amazing souls. We're all souls. The nucleus to the soul is the absolute truth. We call it the glue because it is a unique and true thought, and it needs to attract its first element, which is honesty. Honesty generates acceptance, and honesty is needed to accept all the other elements for each unique, individualized soul. In order to become a human soul, it has to travel to the source, the creator that created our universe, and pick up the human elements of forgiveness and compassion.
The process is a bit complicated, as you can imagine. We only want to simplify it. So the best of our knowledge and the best of our interpretational understanding from angelic beings that we receive the information as frequency. The human soul, the first element the human soul is picking up is honesty. Honesty is very important for the human soul because it has to accept the other elements. And the absolute truth will not know otherwise if other elements are being just glued to it without being within the same vibration of that truth. So honesty is gonna kind of like vetting everything to accept that. The second element is also very important. The second element that the soul, the nucleus of the soul, the absolute truth would pick up is very important, and that is
Patience. Patience generates tolerance.
and tolerance will work together with the honesty and acceptance because honesty is kind of harsh, right? So honesty to accept everything else. Honesty is really harsh on all other elements. So it needs a part of tolerance to be able to say, hey, I accept this, you accept this, you don't accept this, but it's good for us. Let's tolerate it for a little bit. Let's see how it works. So this is the soul travel, even before it gets to the source. And therefore, certain other elements are being picked up in conjunction in between honesty and patience. And the third main element that the soul is going to pick up is awareness. Because you start becoming aware of everything. And awareness is very important to the absolute truth because it generates
Ethics.
and consideration.
Yes, and consideration.
That's absolutely, if we can act with our souls with ethics and consideration. We're going to go through a lot more between the difference between ethics and morals, because morals come from a ego standpoint, a psyche or rational standpoint. It's the righteousness of it. It's like the law, it's right and wrong, and nothing is right or wrong because everything has to be fair.
Right.
So the fourth element, honesty and patience, will tolerate and accept. To glue to the soul is
Generosity.
generosity.
And that generates altruism.
Altruism is very important because we have to be aware of everything around us and be considerate of everything around us in order to function in the universe. to be able to move and to be able to be all considerate. And now we're going to get into a quite controversial situation, because nobody understands the fifth element, what the soul actually glues to itself, to the absolute truth, which is consciousness.
And consciousness generates life, like a power generator. So it's the generator of our bodies.
Our life in our bodies.
Mm-hmm.
That life is actually stored in our kidneys. It's a lot more, because it needs a nuclear focus on it, and it needs a spirit, an igniter, to generate that life. So, why is this so controversial? What we're saying right now is because consciousness is confused with awareness.
Mm-hmm.
Because it sounds so similar to conscience, which is a very important rational thinking of a human brain. But consciousness and conscience are two different things. One is an element, and the other one is not. It's just a rational thinking.
Well, your conscience is related to ethics. So if you think of awareness generates ethics, then that awareness is what people are confusing for consciousness. Or, so they're thinking consciousness is really awareness, but that's what it is, because your conscience is directly linked to those ethics that the awareness builds.
Conscience is even spelled different.
Mm-hmm.
So, but they're confusing because of the similarities of sound between consciousness and conscience,
Mm-hmm.
and they think that it's like awareness, but they don't create morals.
Right.
So the consciousness, yes, creates morals, because it's a rational thinking, and it creates the moral of righteousness in the ego, and the awareness is what generates the ethics and consideration. The major part of a soul, which all animals have, is that the soul going to pick up in the universe. It's humbleness. Humbleness generates
humility.
They need humbleness. Animals especially need humbleness for the pecking order. They know exactly which one is so-called alpha, or which one is the leader. They know the pecking order, which one is what. So they need humbleness to understand that feel of which one is in charge and how to survive better. It's a survival mechanism from the soul point of view.
Mm-hmm.
Now, to become a human soul, the soul has to travel to the source for the next two elements, to the source of creation, the source that created the whole entire universe. Mm-hmm. Some people call it God, some people call it, however you wanted to call it, is the source of all creation. And to become a human soul, the soul has to pick up two major elements that only humans have. And that would be
forgiveness and compassion.
And forgiveness generates
sympathy, and compassion generates empathy.
Okay. Sympathy is the understanding of other people or animals or anybody else. The understanding of somebody else's feelings. Even if you understand what a tree feels like, even that, it's an understanding of somebody's feeling. And empathy is
actually feeling.
The feel.
Yeah, feeling what other people are feeling, like it's your own.
is the feel of what everybody else's feel.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause the feeling is an ego thing. Feeling is feeling of accomplishment and feeling of everything else. But the feel of everybody else's feel, what they feel. And compassion is a kind of the newest element. It's not for long, so that's what made us humans, with compassion that generates empathy. And we're not sure that compassion is in everybody, like a fully whole compassion. And some people might have a halfway, 3/4, 1/4 of compassion. Compared to all the other elements, they're the oldest, and they have everything, including forgiveness. So, compassion, if you don't have enough compassion, you can't feel other people's feeling. Then most of it, you could create some situation with that person. Like they don't feel like they kill a cat, or they don't feel no pain for other people.
Animals or people, like you've mentioned before, Charlie Manson and Ted Bundy may not have had a lot of compassion or any at all, perhaps. So
we call them psychopaths, but I don't know if they're psychopaths. I just truly believe that they didn't fully get the whole element of compassion, just got parts of it. So those are the people that actually cry if you pinch them with a needle, but they don't feel like they kill somebody with a dagger.
Right.
So compassion is probably one of the newest elements, and it makes us humans, the real humans, which generates empathy. So,
well, and empathy is what people are relating to. Oh, I'm an empath, because I feel this. It means you're human and you have compassion. If you're feeling other people's pain or joy,
Yeah, sometimes people feel too much.
Yeah.
Others it's like they're feeling so much that is like they can't take the pain anymore of this world. Because or there's too much joy or something like that. It's
usually the other way around, I think.
Usually, the misery and pain.
Yeah, unfortunately.
And people feel it. Yes, people feel that, and they can't take it. Like there was a movie about it, Green Mile, I guess.
Yeah.
And the guy, as big as the guy was, he had a huge compassion in his soul, and his last words were like, "I can't take it anymore because I feel too much of compassion from everybody else."
Yeah.
So that's what if you have a full compassion. The whole compassion inside your soul is like it connects. Compassion connects also with the emotion, makes you cry, makes you so-called emotional. We're gonna go in emotions also one day, and but we're gonna try to explain a little bit more about the soul today.
Yes.
Also, the soul has to be understood traveling through the universe. It has a companion, or a satellite, or however you want to call it. It's called the free will. Free will is coordinating the soul and makes all the decisions for it. Therefore, once the free will is accepted, they pair together for life, like forever. And
some people call it your higher self.
I call it higher self. And the free will is actually making all the decisions in life. We're thinking that we're making decisions and having all the choices and all that with our brains. So look at me, how smart I am. Nah. All the decisions are already made. You just have to make sense of them. All the choices that you have are already made. You just have to make sense of them. Sometimes we don't really understand them, and we go through it. It's called fate. So, and we're going to go into a lot more about controlling destiny compared with fate, divine intent, and personal intent. But I think for right now, we have an interesting discussion about the first 8 elements that comes with the soul from traveling into the universe, picking up all these other elements from the universe and picking up the 2 best elements as a human can have, which are
forgiveness and compassion.
Let's remember compassion. The more we act with our soul instead of our ego, the more compassion we can have. And every single element is very important. Like personally, I think as of right now in this period of time that we're going through, I think awareness should be really enhanced in everybody. And we should act with ethics and consideration, and from there to be honest, to be patient, generosity come in place. Consciousness is going to generate life in everybody, because everybody that hears this is alive, so they must have some sort of a consciousness. And humbleness, forgiveness, and compassion. The leader of all this should be right now awareness. Stay aware, like not necessarily focus with like eye awareness, but feel aware of all your surroundings.
Feel sense of things.
Feel sense of everything.
Your absolute truth, your glue of your soul is going to feel if something is true or not. So you have to listen to that truth and if it'll make sense for you if it's true for you.
Yeah.
You talked about how we're going through the ego virus right now.
Wow,
and
that was like 7 years ago.
I know, but it's here. So this ego virus, and I recoined it the me virus because everything seems to be about me these days. But you were right about forgiveness and compassion is the cure for this me virus. So it's really important that everybody be aware. Awareness is key, and then practice that forgiveness and compassion for everyone around us.
Well, also awareness will give us is like the second layer. You can transform the second layers in between awareness and honesty. The second layer of it, the activators, will give us fairness, which activates luck in our life. But fairness, you can feel inside your soul as the truth, and it doesn't have to be right or wrong.
Right.
You just know is fair or unfair. You just know, and that is how I do things to understand whether it's right or wrong or it's fair. Because if it's not fair for others, especially, if it's not fair for others, that means it's not going to be fair for me. Or if it's only fair for others and it's not fair for me, that's not good either.
Well, I think fairness should be matched up with karma. I mean, what goes around comes around kind of thing, not exactly to that point, but that fairness is the karma. So as long as we are all aware and considerate of everyone around us, we're able to make things fair for everyone involved if we're aware of the situation or the person, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, I don't like talking about other people. No.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because it stops with me. I have to be aware of situations. I have to understand this fully. So I would totally respect and appreciate if everybody would understand this awareness to the full extent of it, because it's what creates ethical ways of being. Being fair towards others and being fair towards yourself. You have to be fair towards yourself first.
Right.
Because if you're not fair towards yourself, then you're gonna have another point of view.
It gets off kilter, off balance.
Yeah,
It's
off balance.
the
So-
karma.
So,
The fairness is messed up. The karma is not balanced.
yeah, exactly. But you shouldn't be fair only towards you. Just get a little fair first of all for yourself, then be fair to the others, and then take a step back and say, am I fair to the others? Because I know I'm fair to me.
Right.
Because it's in a range of consideration, ethics and consideration with awareness. So if you're not considerate to others first, then you can't be fair with yourself.
Exactly.
So I hope is explained the best of my knowledge.
Yeah. No,
And-
this has been a good one. Next time we'll definitely go through all the activators of the soul.
Activators of the soul. What I really want to talk about it today, Leann,
Oh yeah, you have
is
that.
the difference. The difference between certain things like consciousness and conscience. Those are two different things that it's like everybody's talking about consciousness like it's wow, fifth dimension, and I don't know, whatever. I don't even know what that means. So, but I really want to talk about the triple N's, as I call it, necessity, needs, and necessary. So there, by now, everybody probably is acquainted with the entities that forms a human being. So there's 7 bodies. So the necessary, it's an ego part. Necessity, it's a physical body, literally part, and needs is a mind part. So I've heard a lot of talk. Oh, I don't have a job and I need money, or I don't know, I need to do whatever it is. I don't have much examples right now.
I need a new car.
I need a new car. Yeah, it's like no, the needs are in the mind. Is the need of certainty, the need of uncertainty, and they're polar to each other. Like the certainty is equally polar with the need of uncertainty. You need both, because if you're just straight with the needs of certainty in your mind, and you don't have fun, you don't have a little risk, you don't have a little adventure, then you become a little emotional disturbed, because you just might as well stay in a cell, in a prison of the need of certainty. That's you're certain that you're going to survive there. So the needs are in the mind. Significance pairs out with the curiosity, I guess.
Yeah, need a curiosity.
It pairs up with significance, need of significance. The need of growth pairs up with need of contribution. The need of adoration pairs up with need of courage. You need courage to, I think the need of courage pairs up with curiosity.
Yeah.
I have to look it up. I don't have it in front
we
of
don't
me
have it.
right now. So I have to look it up. But anyway, going back to the triple N, necessary is what you feel you need for like not need, but you want for the feeling of accomplishment, which is in your ego. The feeling of accomplishment are necessary. It's a material thing. I mean, we all want little things like that. And the feeling of accomplishment is pretty good for us. We want to feel good about ourselves. The necessities, your basic necessities, basic vital necessities. When do you want to go through them?
Yeah, so we have we have the necessity of breathing air, drinking water, eating food, and excrement, and all the bodily functions that go along with that. Those are the basic necessities of the human body.
Yeah, and
Vital necessities.
and sleep.
Oh yes, and sleep. That's
They have an order because actually sleep is the 5th one, out of the 6, because when you're gonna have to pee, you're gonna have to
wake up.
You have to wake up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those are the basic necessities, the basic vital necessities.
Yeah.
But there are sub-basic necessities that come through, derived from, like cravings and temptations, and so those are other sub-necessities, because you can't stop craving for something, you just constantly think about that,
Yeah.
and that's, maybe next time we're going to expand on ethics versus morals.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Or you wanted to talk about it right now, ethics versus morals?
We can talk about it now.
Yeah, okay. As we placed on our first episode, like really rapid fire of all the elements and components of our entities that forms our human body. As everybody could see,
we could go through them again real quick if you want. All the 7 bodies.
the 7 bodies.
Yeah. Well, the first one is the soul.
Okay.
Second is free will. Third is the body, the physical body. Fourth is the emotions. Fifth is the mind. Or actually, no. Fifth is spirit. Sorry. 6 is the mind, and 7 is the ego.
Okay. So inside the ego, we have it functions with the feelings. That's why you hurt my feelings kind of thing it comes from. So if ego function with feelings, so one of those feelings are feelings of righteousness. Now, these are morals. It is no wrong or right to be moral. I mean, yes, it's okay, but it's in the ego side. Sometimes whatever is right for you is not right for somebody else.
So, like a law of something that may not apply to you, but applies to a certain portion.
Yeah, so, like normal. What's normal to, I don't know, portion of the world is not normal to other portion of the world.
Right.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Righteousness is very subjective.
Maybe this is a good example as far as morals. The law of, U.S. drinking is 21 or up. But outside of the U.S., a lot of countries are 18 and up.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be an example of a moral. Like they're putting a moral on us that we can only drink after a certain age when we're in a certain country. So it may be right for one person, but it may not be right for someone else. Not a typically great example, but just to give you an example.
That's a great example because if you live at the border...
Not that I'm promoting drinking, I'm just using it as an example.
Yeah, no. Drinking is not our thing, but that's a great example. I mean, that makes moral. That makes the law. That makes the commandments. I'm not going into religion, but that makes the commandments too. It makes a moral side of it, which is really good, but for already moral people, like it's no, the other way. For already ethical people, that they're thinking that whatever is fair for you is fair for me and everything. Mm-hmm. They function with their soul on an ethical side. Mm-hmm. I said again. The moral thing is like their point of view is like, you can have your moral, but don't impose it on me.
Right.
You can have your law, but don't impose it on me, because I don't mandate me to do certain things that I don't think they're fair for me.
Right.
Or I don't think they're ethical. So you can have your law and your moral thing, but don't impose it on me.
Exactly.
So that's the difference between ethics and morals. Ethics function with fairness or unfairness, and morals function with righteousness. And morals come from a psyche, ego, understanding of feelings.
Mm-hmm. Well, the feeling of righteousness is one of the subcomponents to the ego. So
the primary components.
Yeah.
One of the primary,
primary
components to the ego, among others, like feeling of honor and pride and feeling of accomplishment. That's good. Ego has good components. It's not constantly bad. I mean, even
It's
morals.
just being aware of those prime components and knowing how to balance them, and that's the goal of what we're trying to do here, is help everyone understand everything so that we're all able to balance these things within ourselves, within our absolute truth.
That's exactly what I'm saying. For certain people, morals doesn't even matter
Right.
because they're already functioning with their ethics.
That's where that self-governing people come in.
Yeah, very assertive people. We'll go with assertiveness on the emotional side, but assertive people, they're functioning with their ethics. They know what they want, they know what they like, and they don't even matter what the other people's, they don't even allow other people to place their morals up onto them,
Right.
because they function with their ethics inside their soul.
Yeah.
But morals are good. I'm not saying the morals are bad. Morals are good. Righteousness, morals are good, because he just keeps obey those people with lack of compassion.
Yeah.
That you're gonna have to restrain certain amounts of people to say, hey,
Yeah.
okay, you're not moral right now. You can't just be you because
Yeah.
you're
Not following.
you don't have
Rules.
compassion. Let's put it that
Yeah.
way.
Right.
Charles Manson, smart guy. Ted Bundy, smart guy. But you're not having compassion, so don't tell me that your morals, are right, or I don't.
Right.
So yeah, if they would have functioned with the ethical part of it, they might have had a chance.
Totally different life.
Maybe, but it's hard when you don't have a full compassion.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, to feel the hurt when other people hurt. That's what it is. And we're probably gonna go with the another elements next time.
Yeah, we'll go over the activators next time and finish up the rest of the soul, and then we'll get into the elements of the free will, or as other people call it, the higher self. So let us know what you like or don't like, or if you have any questions, and we will see you guys next time. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, guys.